And Harish, thank you for inviting me to this forum. Um, the topic, of course, what we chose is something about current times, but I thought that I would share with you a couple of thoughts that come to mind at this juncture. And the main theme of my sharing ideas today is that during this disruption, I feel, and I feel convincingly strong that HR should create more disruption. And I'm not saying this to sensation. Before we go into that,
sir, please unmute.
Time only one or two industries were affected. The overall business scenario was not that bleak. Second, the seriousness of casualty, what we are seeing in this disruption, is far more impactful than what we ever seen in any other disruption in the past. But any disruption needs a particular set of handling, and this is no different than any other disruption that we have seen, except for its gravity. Now, whenever there is a disruption, the first reaction from the leadership team, and it includes HR, is to steady the boat, make everything calm, bring control, do damage control, let not things go totally out of hand. And there's no focus is on how much can we derive some system. When that focus is on maintenance, what I'm suggesting, why to create more disruption, there is a logic for it. During disruption, there is often no option but to change. You're forced to change. There's no option. And when that change happens, sometimes it's no more seen as an one-off situation. It is seen as part of the new scenario. And when additional disruptions are added to the plate, it also becomes part of the ongoing situation. So change becomes and disruption becomes all merged together that, okay, one more thing has changed. One more thing is going to be broken. And then at such times, attention is taken away from day-to-day operational issues to looking at things a little more in a quiet manner, thinking of how to manage in future, how to strategize, and also about how to do things differently, because there is little time in hand from running around from regular running of businesses. Actually, if you notice clearly and notice your own behavior, the time like this, creativity also starts flowing much more freely. Solutions are found much easier for us to things that we are facing, and some out-of-the-box ideas pop up and we act on it. We are not constrained or restrained by any boundaries at such time, because adaptability becomes the key word, and to not only to deal with the situation, but also to survive. So working from home was not very common to many of us, especially in the manufacturing industry and Indian non-IT industry. But now I think after a couple of days, first few days felt like a long weekend. But now I think we are getting into the rhythm. In fact, many of us must be finding that our productivity has increased. We're getting into a rhythm of adapting to new situations. Creativity comes in many forms, and let me share a couple of examples. I was heading Motorola in the .com buzz days, and I think in the 7 countries in Asia Pacific, we were going to terrible times. India, Malaysia, Vietnam, sorry, not Vietnam, but part of Singapore and yes, partly Vietnam also. And the idea was that, our very existence was threatened. At that point of time, I remember India business we were trying to set up and growing very quickly. And the software business, we had some of the best talent. We had acquired them with a lot of effort. And then we realized that this talent needs to be engaged, and there's no business, there's no software work to be done. I remember calling some 40 odd very high potential people together and actually talking to them openly about how do we keep them engaged, how do we make sure that they are involved. And we made a list of projects that they could take upon themselves. And it was not to do with software, because software business was really a southward movement. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. We looked at how could we utilize our software engineers, are very high powered, to look at store management improvement in the factory. We looked at them, how can they pay attention to procurement processes and revisit them. One of them, I remember a guy called Venki, was a very serious hobby of culinary art. He was very good at creative culinary skills of cooking, etc. And he actually volunteered that he would go to the cafeteria and create a healthy menu, right from the start, costing to how to prepare and how to serve. Imagine a software engineer working on project like this. In fact, we had his idea implemented and we called that counter Venki's Corner. A lot of pride happened during that period. The people were feeling engaged. And I think that is the lesson I want to share today, that at this point of time, we got to keep our high potential, high performers, people with tremendous amount of energy and attention on them. So to move forward on this concept, I'm suggesting three-prong approach. And coincidentally, the initials come out to be MBA. And let me elaborate. M for maintain. B for break ruthlessly. And A for align with business. And this is more focused on HR community. So when I say maintain, this is the time, difficult time, but we got to maintain certain things that are very core to the organization, our organization values, the type of things that we have stood for, principles. Deloitte did a survey in February 2020, which is just last month, and a whopping 86% of the population surveyed responded that they valued organization values more than high-paying jobs that were offered where organization values were not perceived to be very high. This is the time when it's delicate. What is your brand reputation? How do we maintain brand reputation? With Glassdoor and social media going berserk, we got to make sure that the HR community, along with the line managers, preserves this, what is important, and maintain 1/3 of the attention that I'm talking about. If you roughly break it into three parts, is to maintain the organization values, brand reputation, ethical standards, and most important, communication. Communication amongst employees, with employees, and even external agencies like, say, campuses, with agencies that we are working with who provide HR services to us. This is the time to make sure that nothing breaks in these areas. The B part of MBA is to break ruthlessly, and that is what my title of my presentation was, that create more disruptions. Challenge status quo. This is a time to look very critically and very objectively and look at which are the policies, which are the processes we can actually break, not make. Most of us in HR are very good at making something, creating something and offering new things. What I am strongly suggesting is this is the time to relook at what we can break. Nothing is sacrosanct. There's no holy cows. If, provided that there's a big if, that if it is adding value and is relevant to running the business and good for the organization. And this if is very important. We should not do it for the sake of novelty. Oh, it's nice to do it. Okay. This is serious business. Breaking things is a big risky business. So we look at organization structure and charts, and this is time to review, do we really need those structure? Just because we had these verticals and we had these business models. No business model is sacrosanct. Why can't we break? They're not cast in stone. Can we look at hierarchical positioning, reporting lines afresh, as if we are starting a company, new company, greenfield exercise today? So some of the things that I was looking at, examining, what are the things we can actually challenge in HR? And a couple of things that came to my mind. Why annual appraisal? Just because April has come, there's an appraisal cycle. Why not quarterly appraisal? Appraisal, I'm not talking about quarterly dialogues. Appraisal based on how the organization has performed during this quarter, what has been your contribution? In the same light, why annual increase? I mean, we just went through series of reports from Aon and XYZ organization. Industry will give this much, cost will be about 8.5% average, but to our high flyers will give 12% and the low performers will get 3%. Overall cost will be maintained. This is all predictable. Can we challenge that? Why annual increase? Why not quarterly incentives? Not increase. Increase is predictable that I will get some money. And this is the guesswork. The industry is giving 10%, so we will get 11 or maybe we'll get a 9. Why not incentive? I know it sounds transactional, but I'm not making it transactional in terms of today's time, that whatever you bring to the table, learn to take from that kitty. Incentives. And today we have data management, we have data analytics systems available where we can put data together and find out how much we have created values. And can we share what the organization has earned and not just give it because it is required to be done because other people are doing it in our neighborhood. So profit sharing may be one of the options. If the quarter has not gone well, there'll be no increase. We got to take some hard decisions because this is not a question of business as usual. Nothing will be normal after this. The normal itself will be redefined. And if you're going to say, oh, after this crisis is over, we'll go back to our annual Giza-Pita appraisal, Giza-Pita bell curve and distribution, I think we'll have to be very careful that normal times will not come back in the form we thought what is normal. Now, this is the time when we break boundaries, we will lead the way for the organization. As a function, we will come out from being accused of being reactive to something proactive, but only piece of caution. And you guys are all senior people on the call. I don't have to say this, but we have to be sure that what we are recommending in breaking and remaking is adding value to business. And for that, we got to understand the business. Most of us are accused, sometimes rightly, and I'm part of the HR community, so I can say this openly, that we don't understand business. We understand PAT, we understand PBT, we understand CAGR to the last decimal point. But what do our business leaders lose sleep over? What is the competition doing? What is the market forces shaping our end product and end services? How many of us can really say that we know? In the time of recruitment, line managers come and say, we need 15 people in this function. And we say, okay, we have an SLA with you in 35 days from the day you sign up the requisition. On the 35th day, we'll produce people with offer accepted. And if we do it on 33 days, we actually feel very happy and pat ourselves on the back. I'm not criticizing the system. Please don't misunderstand I'm being condescending or something. But have we ever had courage or knowledge or conviction to say, we don't need 15 people, we actually need 19 people? With my understanding of the business and future trend, looking at competition, we need to expand more. But we can do this only if we know the business. The line managers will not accept any theoretical answers from us. As long as it's adding value to his or her business, they'll be comfortable. So the point I'm making is that if we are very comfortable with what we are doing, we have to come out of that comfort zone. Because only when we are uncomfortable will we be able to make a change. And that is the B part, is to break. And when you break something, a new system, new process, new ideas will come around which will offer. This is like the proverbial bird phoenix. Every 400 years, it approaches a flame, I mean, in legend and myth. And before it approaches when it approaches the flame, it goes through tremendous pain of approaching the flame and the heat. It loses its feather and then it dies. But in that flame, it rises again, and phoenix is reborn. And phoenix is a symbol of a reborn. I'm actually putting forward that the HR community has to become like phoenix. We got to burn our wings, and rebirth is what is the opportunity such disruption will provide. And the last part of MBA is the A part, is aligned with business. Set aside today processes which are not really aligned to business. It's a time to spend time with our business partners. Ask them and determine, not just ask, but determine that what is it they really want. Many of them have used us as a service provider. We are told in many conferences and seminars, and I'm equally guilty of that, is that HR should be a business partner. How come we have never talked about finance being questioned that are the business partners, or marketing? Why is it that HR is singled out to be questioned, are you a business partner? We are business. But sometimes the line managers feel that handling people is a common sense issue. It is not.
Not able to hear. This audio is not clear.
Hello.
And you have become famous because of those processes. Why break them? We don't even think of breaking them. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Harish, somebody mentioned that my mic is on mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
Now,
Somebody give me
now
some
it's
feedback.
We can hear you now,
had
sir.
gone. Yeah.
Dr. Aquil, could you please repeat what you said in the last bit, because you were not audible?
Which part, ma'am?
The last part, A, when you started with A and you said we are business.
Okay. Actually, I can't hear a word. For some reason, I am not able to hear anything. But anyway, I'll repeat. So please help me with some sign language or writing down. The A part is aligning with business. We got to make sure that we are aligned to the business in real sense. Go spend time with line managers and understand what they really want. If we feel satisfied that they're happy with what we've given them, sit down and revisit. And end customer in mind. It's important to make sure that our processes, just because we have done it for years together, we have successfully done it, we have been praised for it or written about and received an award, it doesn't mean that everything is sacrosanct. Look at this. We have succession plan, for example. And every year we go through a holy exercise of the succession planning. Names are there. Hardly any names are removed in reality. More names are added. Look at the high potential list. We prepare a nice Adobe list of high potential. And sometimes the list keeps on increasing. We sometimes don't have courage to take off people because we think it will decrease morale. This is the time I'm strongly suggesting that take a magnifying glass and examine each and every person appearing on that list to say, who are the very best of that? And there is a reason for it. Because if we now do this exercise, And when the rebound happens to the business, we will be equipping our organization with the right talent. If we just do it as a routine hypo list and a succession plan list, we would be living in the past. So when I say maintain, break, and align, I'm again looking at, is the structure, is the manning structure business centric, or have we just got layers and layers of fat? Have we looked at things that earlier we thought we would change, but we had no time to do it? This is the time to take a breath. This is the time to take a pause and make sure that we are doing MBA. Maintain what is core, break ruthlessly things that we thought are working well and reinvent, and strongly align ourselves with the business. And I'm not being theoretical, I'm not giving some gyan. These are things, this is the right time and right opportunity for us to do it. Now, coming to the current COVID-19 crisis, I would look at it this way, that I would divide the 2020 particularly into two segments, and I'm not going by the month. I'm not medical expert or even knowledgeable person to say which month will happen what, but anything that we do a period from now, we should divide into two parts. The first half, we got to make sure that we drive efficiency, that we got to have operations with agile. We got to partner with businesses to make operations agile, very quick to respond. And most important, this is the time to use training and development, both hard skill and soft skill, because we have time. We don't have to have classrooms. We can do virtual training. We can have tremendous amount of powerful training intervention offline, online like this, not offline, online. The idea is to make people ready for a rebound. And I'm repeating this word several times, that we got to make sure that we are planting seeds for a rebound. The rebound curve will happen. When it will happen, nobody knows. In what form it will happen, which industry will get completely submerged, which will able to rise, is all a different subject altogether. But we've got to identify future leaders now. Who are the ones on whom we will rely, who will take us out of these dark days and grow the business? And that is where I feel you got to take risk, identify more younger people, put them in the job of leading deliberately. This idea of gray hair people and no hair people, and just because people have got experience under the belt should become leaders, is actually obsolete. Look at techno-managerial skills, because that is going to be advantage in the future. And those who have resilience to adapt to new working style. And take that leap of faith. Identify those people, groom them now. And if we start grooming them now, we will have a talent pipeline which you can tell the line manager, don't worry about the business leadership. We will give you a talent pipeline, a leadership pipeline which will be robust. Prepare for the rebound. I think the whole point I'm repeating very emphatically is that prepare ourselves for the rebound now. In the second half of the period that of the crisis I'm talking about, whether the recovery will be U-shaped or V-shaped is guesswork. I would not hazard. For some industry, it might be U-shaped. The trough may be longer by the time we go up. For some, it may be immediate rebounding, and let's not guesswork. But either of the shape, it is the people that we have will make that shape. The talent that we now nurture. So let's take that responsibility very seriously in the HR function, that we are here to ensure the sustenance of the organization's future and not just doing a job in HR. And that is why having a workforce which is trained, motivated, and not theoretically motivated by giving some plan, and the payment part will have to be revised. Can we make sure that we sharply differentiate? No more simple distribution of increases and wealth. Am I audible? Just checking. Harish, am I audible? Okay. Um, and one area which is going to be sensitive with line managers because it involves cost is to focus on recruitment. And you'll say, but right now, whether we'll take back our existing people or not is doubtful. What am I talking about recruitment? When I say about recruitment, I'm not talking about hiring only from outside or new people. What I'm saying is that this is an opportunity to make changes which we never had opportunity to do before. And you got to create a confidence in the people that this company will give me career. Even if it's going shaky wicket at present, your brand and your financial could not be more attractive because people are looking for safety of future. Organization which will give them that confidence that I can build a career here despite the bad times are going to be beacon for attracting good talent. And the last part, second last part is leadership. You got to make sure that your leadership style is not same Gisa Pita what has succeeded in the past. For example, the affiliative, the participative, consensus-seeking leadership style has been talked about and been praised. I personally feel that it's not sacrosanct that we should continue with that style. In time to come, and not very far from now, a style that says run fast and keep up running will be in demand. People who can give directive, here's what we need to do, will add value. Now people say, oh, but that amounts to authoritarian style and that's not good. Who says it's not good? This is the time to give instruction. The last part is culture. Recognize, now synthesize your thought into what are the weak points of the organization. Where is it that we are not agile? What do we have tenacity into our culture? Build capabilities very quickly and do not rely on instinct. Oh, this person is good, this talent is good, he or she shows future potential. Go by data. Use data analytics, past performance, predictions, and whatever approach is available, whatever data tool is available, use that now. And then set up centers of excellence. Take tasks and pull small task forces together of 4 or 5 people to brainstorm, come out with ideas rather than have everything boiling up to leadership to come up with solution. So let me conclude slowly. And the idea is to differentiate on reward, redeploy rather than the numbers have to be cut. Think of whether you can redeploy people in different jobs, retrain them quickly, use them rather than only go by reduction. And the last point is that focus on future. Right now, we will all be in an emergency response mode. What can we do if something happens tomorrow? What do we do? That has already happened. Plant is closed down. Customers are lost. Business has come to standstill. Emergency mode cannot be denied. But we have to aim to move from emergency response to a more long-term resilience. And resilience will not happen automatically. And that is where engagement with people. The leaders need to be visible. HR needs to be visible. They have to connect with people. Have a ritual of calls with your people. Rituals have a tremendous power. Every Friday, 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening, we have a town hall for 47 minutes. Every Friday. And people say, why 47 minutes? I have no idea. Sometimes the ritual makes people feel comfortable. They look at anticipation. Use every possible means of positive communication with them. But let's not make any false promises because credibility can be lost. Just to buy peace now, become assuring people is a short-term gain. Be realistic. Do not create panic, but at the same time, do not make any false promises. At the same time, sit with line managers and outside community, competition. We are fortunately well connected in HR community. Pick each other's brain to find out, anticipate opportunities that can arise. What are the demand picks up? If the demand picks up, how will we rebound? So I will end here, Haresh, that these are tough times, But if we as an HR community can break more things than we are creating, we would have actually renewed ourselves and we would have added value to business. We would actually relook at ourselves with more respect. The business will look at us as a value-add partner, and this opportunity then will be a fulcrum point from which we can make some beginning, because there is time on hand. There is, how long will it last? Nobody knows. Hopefully, if things rebound, we would have made the organization ready for a re-survival, recycling, phoenix-like renewal. So I will add here, I don't know, but I will be able to hear you. But Harish, you'll have to work out technical part of this part.
So thank you.
I hope this made some sense to you. I would really love to learn from your views and comments. So over to you, Harish.
So thank you, sir. It was really in-depth. Anyone would like to ask any question? This was the experience what he has shared, the whole essence of his experience of 47 years.
Hello.
So anyone would like to ask question?